Yeah. Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? Yeah. Good afternoon, members of the media. Yeah. No, we're looking forward to it. It's an interesting team that we'll be playing against. Well coached. Dane Clade, his technical team have done a very, very good job to put the team together, and of course to reach this stage of the competition means they've got something. So we know how difficult playing NFD teams can be, and that's why we've had to work very, very hard to profile the team. Unfortunately, there's quite a lot of the players that have played in the PSL, and also we could manage to get a couple of the games, and also attend one of their games last week against Tuks. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. It should be a very interesting encounter. Yeah. He's been giving us information. Of course, the profile of the team has changed a little bit because of the change of coach. The style of play is completely different as opposed to last season. And the story of Masia actually is quite interesting because it takes me back all the way to a team called Strokes in the Walter Sisulu Discovery Tournament, you know. And we used to play with Black Poison against Strokes quite a bit, and that's where the birth of Masia came from. And so to see the club where it is today, and some of the players where they are, like Caden, for an example, is a boy that played for Black Poison, and now he's playing in the NFD as a left back for Masia. So it's an interesting team with some very, very good players. I mean, Roy Keane played for Stellenbosch. He's got that experience up front. I think you know him as Aventura, I think. But Roy Keane, Aventura, very, very good player, fast, aggressive. They've got a very good team. Manzini in the midfield, very, very good. Bachis, the number 4 in the midfield, the captain, very good player. So yeah, very interesting for us to see. Johnson reminds me actually a lot of Dane Clate. He plays exactly like Dane Clate, and yeah, very interesting. Was very interesting. I enjoyed watching them. I ended up watching 4 games when I thought I'd only watch 3, you know, and I'll probably watch one more today because they've just loaded one more game on my laptop, so I'll watch one more today. But I enjoyed watching their friendly against Sekhukhune. I enjoyed watching their last 3 games, JDR, where they drew 0-0. It was a very interesting game, and they were a bit unfortunate. Even the game against Tuks, where they lost 2-1, they were quite unfortunate. They created a lot of chances, but yeah, I've enjoyed watching their team. Very well coached, a lot of energy, good organizational forms. So should be a very interesting game. Yeah, look, we have to try to put the best team on the pitch, and we'll try to do that. There might be a couple of rotations, yes. There were a lot of rotations in the previous game too, so we will rotate and see what we can get out, because we've also got a very, very difficult program coming up next. In the next couple of weeks is going to be quite hectic just before the FIFA break, and so we've got to try to make sure that everybody is prepared and ready, and we can go into our resources from a playing personnel perspective. But yeah, let's see. We've got a couple of issues also with injuries at the moment. But and also after the Pirates game, we also got a couple of concerns. You know, it was a very, very difficult game from a physical perspective. So yeah, let's see what we can put together for tomorrow. Yeah, well, look, I think it's always a strong league. I mean, we also what even a team like Dondol did last season. You know, in the very same competition. So you can't underestimate any of the teams, you know. Their game against Venda was interesting just before the end of the year, was interesting, and I watched that. And the level was quite good, a very intense match, a lot of physicality, but also they hard running both sides. Their game against JDR also in Dobsonville was an interesting game to watch, and JDR are also a team that we play a lot of friendlies against and we get to see. So you know the quality that you get from there, and Tucks are number one on the log, and I got an opportunity to watch that game last week, Monday, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, at Dobsonville. So from the little that I've seen, and Davi, as he mentions, you know, even last season I was following the league because I was supporting Coach Temba a lot with regards to his matches and seeing his progress with All Stars. And he's also a great resource for me because he knows the players very well in the NFT. He's a football fundi, you know. He knows the players, he knows the names, he knows where they come from, and he knows he's got a lot of information that he's shared with me. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I like the league, and it's an important league in every single country. Maybe in England you call it the Championship. In the Bundesliga is League 2, you know, or Bundesliga 2, or you know. But it is what it is. Without these type of formats, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to give opportunities to the players that need that type of level before they can progress to professional football with the PSL team. So it's good to see, and it's good to see a lot. Like I say, even a player like Caden, you know, he's a boy that I saw at 16 years old, and I think now he's 21, 22. And playing in the NFT, it makes me proud because he comes from a club like Black Poison, where, you know, we've produced from that type of setup so many players that have played. Even Siabonga Zulu, who plays for La Masia, played for Black Poison, you know. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting team, and as I say, really I enjoyed watching their games, and I'm looking forward to the game. Yeah, it's yeah. As I say, I mean, I look at the team when I watch La Masia play. I can already see the stamp of a coach, and they do quite a lot of very good things. And whether it's Virgil Fries in goals or is Du Plessis with the left foot is the same type of schemes in the build-up. And then inverted fullbacks. Whether I can say that I enjoy being, to be honest, I don't know whether I'm worthy of that. You know, I don't think that I can, at this point in time of my career, enjoy that type of responsibility. I think I've still got so much more to learn. And I think I've got so much more to go through still in my journey, and I can only receive the words from Dane, who was also probably one of the players I used to watch and admire quite a lot with his qualities, and I can only receive that with a lot of humility and hopefully. The work that we do and the support that I get from the rest of the people who also support me and encourage me and inspire me, that can also filter down to many young coaches, and I receive it with a lot of humility and gratitude. No, for sure. I mean, Freezy has got a background of having played professional football too, and was a top football player. I didn't get to see him play, but I've been told a lot of amazing stories, him and his brother, Howard Fries. I got the privilege of working with Coach Allen at Silver Stars, where I started not really started, but probably started my professional coaching journey. And at that time I was still studying, and I had to leave varsity at the time and come to training with the first team and go back to varsity and come to the afternoon training sessions. And Coach Alan Fries used to pick me up from my house every single day, no fail, every morning on time, take me to training and drop me off late in the evenings every single day. I have learned so much from him. I don't even think I give him the credit that he deserves for the role he's played in my coaching career, because I learned a lot in those informal discussions on the way home or on the way to training. I got the opportunity to be his assistant coach also for the Bay Hill at under 19 in my first experience of Bay Hill before I went with the Sundowns team. And so huge plaudits to Coach Freezy, and an amazing, really, honestly, amazing human being. And sometimes I sit and I laugh at some of the stories he used to share alone, and people think that's normal behavior because he's crazy. But sometimes I reminisce about those times, and we went to, I remember we went to Germany, in Oberndorf, and we played an under 19 competition there. And you will not believe that the technical team was myself, was Coach Alan Fries and Coach Kevin Johnson. And we went against Barcelona, and that Barcelona side had Sergio Roberto, had some of these top young players that I've still got the team sheet actually. Some of the top, and we met Jürgen Klopp at that competition because Borussia Dortmund were there for the very first time. And we drew 0-0 with that top Barcelona side, with our Platinum Stars side. It was a great result for us. A result we'll cherish for many, many, many years. Yeah. If the kids are ready, we will play them for sure. Every game gives its own opportunities for certain targets and objectives, and we have those. And of course, they feature predominantly in our friendlies. They feature a lot in our training sessions. We are also in constant communication with Coach Tamba, so he works as one of the technical team members in the first team. Every morning he's part of it, and that was my road also. I remember when I was coaching the under-19s at Silver Stars, I used to be an assistant to Coach Steve Kompella in the first team, and in the afternoons I would go to the youth, so he's following a similar type of pathway. And he helps a lot with regards to being able. We've thrown a player like Gabi. We threw him in the Carling Black Label when we had a few problems up front, and we've got a few of those. And like you say, Kutlwano, there's a boy Sia that played a few of our friendlies, left centre back. Kutlwano has been good for our DDC team. Mali's got incredible potential. So I'm just piggybanking on some of the players you've mentioned, but yeah, it's an opportunity, of course, but only if the platform is right, and not to just throw them into the deep end and expect them to carry Mamelodi Sundowns is very, very difficult. It's even some seasoned professional players struggle with that responsibility. And so you've got to be patient for these type of situations, and when the time is right, for sure, you'll see a lot more. It's our responsibility. We've done it with Mabena last season a lot, and Tando, Sia. So yeah, when the time is right, for sure, we'll do that. The scoreline, I've got no comment on. I think my biggest problem is that I don't discuss quite a lot of these things that are said by my colleagues in the media. I don't go and have engagements with the media about them. You are all familiar with some of the things that my colleague at TS Galaxy said, and I picked up the phone and I called him direct, and I raised my displeasure. There were things said by Hugo Bros, and I picked up the phone and I called him direct, and I raised my displeasure. What was said in those conversations is not for the public. If they feel that they've got to disclose that, it's what they feel like. I'm not that type of person. and I will not be dragged into those type of situations. I respect my family, and I was raised in a certain way. So when I sit in a public platform and I speak to the media, I must also understand that I don't just represent myself. I represent my family and the upbringing and the education that they gave me. And I also represent the football club, and it's a club that has high moral standards. And so it's important that when you have that respect, not just for yourself, but for the people who raised you and for the people who look after you, and that you have the privilege to serve, then you've got to behave in a certain manner. And I don't want to go into that space. And in fact, I'm one person that was taught to forgive even the wrongs that are never apologized for. And I'm that type of person. I move on very, very quickly. But I address issues straight. I don't go to the media. I don't go and create a mudsling. I pick up the phone and I address those things. And unfortunately, Coach Hugo Broos did apologize and explained what had happened. But for me, after that conversation we had on the phone before AFCON, for me it was done. What do I say to the players? I say the truth. I tell them the truth. I always try to tell them the truth. If I can't tell them the truth and I feel it's too strong, then I keep quiet, because I try not to lie. And that's very important. So it's either the truth or I keep quiet. And they know that sometimes my silence actually speaks a little bit louder than the words. We've done a debrief. I've spoken to them. They know exactly where we are and how the level is. They know the reaction. They know the responsibility and also because there were so many things that were factors into that performance, you know. So it becomes very difficult to only put it to the players, you know, because as I said, even in the media, I said I've got to look at myself also, you know, and that's where I always start. I start with myself, and as the coach, the responsibility of not just the results but the performance lies on me, the coach, you know. So I think the players know my feelings, and now we move on. We have to prepare for a very, very important game against a very good team.